The Train of Insanity, an Allegory by Yankee Stacking. You're seated on a train. In fact, you've always been on this train. Right now, though, you are suddenly made aware of two things. One, how incredibly fast the train you're on is moving. And two, just how dark it is outside. You faintly remember a time when the train wasn't moving so fast, and it wasn't so dark outside. It was a smooth ride with only an occasional and gentle change in speed. Nothing that you couldn't handle. You'd simply grab hold of a passing seat back to stabilize yourself while walking to the restroom or to the diner car for a bite to eat. However, you now feel the train lurching more violently, which throws your head back and causes those walking up and down the aisles to stumble and even fall sometimes. This greatly concerns you, but not as much as what you see outside your window. There, cutting through the darkness, are illuminated signs. They're bright, blinking neon signs that seem to scream things like danger, track out ahead, warning, reduce speed. They keep appearing, and the longer the train ride continues, the more you notice them. You wonder if they've always been there before, if you'd missed them while you were asleep. But you also now wonder why the people around you don't seem to notice them. They're busy talking, laughing, drinking, watching Netflix, and playing games on their devices. In fact, it looks like there's a party going on in the car in front of you, so you check it out. And sure enough, hundreds of people in all the cars connected together are partying with loud, raucous excitement while the train speeds ever forward. You tell people to look outside at the warning signs, but they look at you instead and call you a nut job, a fearmonger, or even a conspiracy theorist. At that precise moment, the train makes a series of jarring movements you can't remember ever feeling before. There are violent surges, followed by one massive change in speed that causes drinks and bodies to fly everywhere. The man next to you hits the floor awkwardly, and you nearly join him as you grab onto a steel bar next to you. When you steady yourself and help some people up around you, your eyes, almost instinctively now, look out the window. You see trees and buildings whizzing by you. They are now made visible from an orange glow coming from somewhere far up ahead. This metastasizes your fears, and you yell at the top of your voice, "Everyone, we're going to crash!" But to your utter amazement, the people around you ignore your cry. They get up slowly, brush themselves off, find their missing mobile devices, and line up for replacement drinks at the bar. What is going on? These people are obviously unconcerned over what just happened, and still, somehow, completely oblivious to what is coming. You talk with some of them. One man in a suit says to you, "Yeah, I know we're going to crash, but we'll be okay. I've been through a few minor crashes before. Nothing to worry about." Another man says, "Dude, relax. I'm sure we've got plenty of good track ahead before anything really bad happens." A rather jovial lady tells you that there's nothing we can do about it, so we might as well enjoy the ride. On and on it goes as you speak to more and more people. Only one person, an older woman, seems to get what you're talking about and asks you what to do. So you and this woman talk for a while and figure the best place to be would be in the rear of the train. The two of you race back to the last car in hopes the cars ahead of you will somehow soften the impact of whatever lies ahead. It takes a while to get back there as you weave your way through the clueless revelers. You even have to step over some injured and unconscious people still laying in the aisle. Incredibly, there are many you pass who are actually sleeping in the seats, and you marvel at how they could ever sleep so soon after what just happened. Finally, you and the woman make it to the last train car. It's mostly empty. Evidently, only a few people think the way you do. Then you notice the rear exit door is propped open, and you decide to investigate. Outside, you find a few people standing on the small iron gangway. They tightly grip the back railing and stare out onto the tracks that glows from light streaming out of the rear windows. And then you suddenly realize, to your horror, that they intend to jump. But they're paralyzed with fear. They can't do it. And for good reason. The ties under the tracks blur into a single large image as it disappears into the darkness. No one could survive such a jump. You're going way too fast. So you convince them to go back into the caboose to consider other options. Your new friend, the woman from another car, meets you again and suggests removing as many loose items as possible. She's concerned that they will become dangerous projectiles. That makes sense to you and several other people, and so you begin throwing whatever seems unnecessary and potentially dangerous out the back door. You keep only what really matters. You select a rear-facing seat that could help support your head and back during a crash. And then you notice, for the first time, that there are seatbelts crammed back in the crook of the seat cushions. Dusty, old seatbelts that no one had used in a very, very long time. These highly ignored train accessories are suddenly priceless now. And that's when you hear the front door of the train car slide open and you see more people coming in. Their eyes are wide, their faces filled with fear. They scramble in and grab some seats around you. Apparently, they've come to their senses and understand the dire circumstance they're in. You make them aware of the seatbelts and urge them to put them on. So there you are, a small group of deeply concerned strangers banded together in hopes of making it through what is inevitably coming. Now, none of you know when the long string of engines and cars will collapse into a heap of twisted rubble, or what it will exactly look like in your caboose when it happens. All you know is that the way the train is going, there is no escape. You must prepare for what is coming. So you and your train car clan make a quick inventory of supplies. You all agree that if you make it through this crash, it may be a very long time until you're rescued. You find some food, water, and other supplies, and store them away. But they seem so insufficient. One particularly stressed woman offers up an idea to potentially isolate you from the impending disaster. Detach the caboose from the rest of the train. But how? You have no experience with commercial railroad equipment. A man, apparently skilled in such areas, says the maneuver is actually quite impossible, regardless of what Hollywood says. He tries to explain to everyone that something called a North American Standard Knuckle Coupler can only be undone by someone on the ground, or, if done while the train is moving, only if it's traveling slowly. Slowly. Ugh. If only those with the knowledge and power had seen the warning signs while the train was still moving slowly. But alas, you now feel like you're on a Japanese bullet train going 200 miles an hour. It would be suicide to try. That's when another person suggests an idea. What if you could fill the car with as much soft material as possible to help protect everyone from impact? What a brilliant idea. However, a bunch of you just threw out several pieces of luggage that could have contained such material. You didn't think about that. Now what? Someone else suggests going back into the other cars and gathering up as much of the soft material as possible. But most of the people's luggage is locked away in a luggage car. How do we get to that now? One panicky male voice cries out, "We don't have time for this! Look! The signs are coming much faster now!" And he's right. The signs are now everywhere outside. Then an old, bearded gentleman proposed that you ask a train conductor if you can get into the luggage car and grab as much as you can. He says he saw one of the conductors only a few cars away from the caboose. So, led by the old guy, several of you venture back into the crowd to track him down. And eventually, you find the uniformed man. But to your surprise, instead of hearing him instructing riders to take their seats and buckle up, he's telling everyone everything's fine, that there's absolutely nothing to worry about. One in your group asks the conductor if you can get into the luggage car, and after much discussion, pleading, and maybe even a few bribes, you convince him to let you in. In what seems to go on for days, but is really more like 6 hours, your renegade band of travelers somehow manages to collect piles of suitcases and luggage and move them all back into the caboose. The soft, precious, tangible contents are taken out of their shells and stacked all around you. You suddenly realize that the clothing's color and style are meaningless to you. Even premium items that are very expensive are only seen in the light of their ability to cushion you. No one could pay you $1,000,000 fiat dollars for a shirt or a pillow now. But then again, the other masses in the innumerable cars in front of you wouldn't be interested in your pile of clothes. You would no doubt look absolutely ridiculous to them. But you don't care. You understand now. You're strapped in, you're prepared, and you start praying.